And you guys are set, so you're gonna have, that's a good leading question. Alright. I enjoyed it.
You enjoy working there?
They gave me this thing, they made a big mistake.
It is
Don't make
amazing.
it as well.
Integrated
Ordering
into
this.
society.
Say I need black roses.
Well,
We're almost
my
there.
parents, she but she don't show up. She said,
Are you right-handed? You don't think?
paper to the
You got a nice laugh.
Yeah, you missed that part, right?
I think I missed this.
I see that, make things up.
It was one of the kindest things that she ever taught me.
Oh, for, yeah. You excited?
Yes.
I'd like to call the September 12th regular meeting of the Bedford County School Board to order. Mr. Hill is not here, he's away on family business. Mrs. Johnson, will you call the roll?
Mr. Daniels.
Here.
Mr. Holbrook.
Here.
Hebot.
Here.
Mr. Knight.
Here.
Mr. Nelms.
Here.
Mrs. Purvis. Here. Mr. Vice Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for September 12th?
So moved.
Mr. Nelms,
Second.
second by Mrs. Purvis. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. All right, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We could please remain silent for a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, moving on to two staff reports. 2.01 joint school presentation, Mr. Troy Doss and Mr. Kurt Hedring.
Well, good evening, members of the board. My name is Troy Doss, and I'm the principal at Susie G. Gibson Science and Technology Center and the Alternative Education Center. So throughout the presentation, I may say SGSTC or AEC just to kind of shorten things up. So this is Curtis Hetherington. He serves as an assistant principal at their Alternative Education Center, and he runs all the programs, the many programs downstairs in our Alternative Education Center. So during this presentation, we will highlight our programs, celebration partnerships. We currently have 15 programs. We have one of only 9 of our Governor's Health Sciences Academies in the state of Virginia. We have online learning as well as work-based learning and internship opportunities. So we want to look at our vision for career technical education. And our vision for the last few years has been we want to lead the division by providing center-based preparation for college and career readiness. So being a career technical center, we should already be doing those things. We should already be leading the division with the number of credentials earned and so forth. So our leadership team, we're going to look at this vision statement and we're going to tweak it and we'll bring it back to the table probably in October. Let Dr. Cornett look at it and see if we can maybe lead the region, if that's a goal that we can reach. So our mission is to prepare students for future success, authentic learning. We want to make sure that we will award credentials that honor the students' achievements and experiences. So these credentials are the things that get these students, the higher paying jobs as they go into the workforce. Without these credentials, they're going in basically at an entry level position. For example, we had two of our HVAC students last year earned several credentials, which pushed them to $23 an hour right out of high school at 18 years of age. So I think that's amazing. Some of the fast facts over to the right. So each year what we do is we call the previous year's completers to kind of see what they were doing. Have they entered into post-secondary education? Have they entered into employment? So this is called a completer survey data. And we collect this data, and we were able to be able to say, we're pleased to say that 90% of the CTE completers reported successful transition from secondary school to post-secondary education to employment or military. So all the ones that we were able to get in touch with, those are the ones that said they had a success rate in those areas. I wanted to kind of explain we've had a lot of questions about our Governor's Health Science Academy and what it means. So we are one of 9 of the Governor's Health Science Academies in the state of Virginia. So you have to have certain criteria, certain classes, basically within the health and medical sciences. So as you see on the slideshow there, we have LPN, we have CNA, we have biotech, forensics, we have midterm or medterm, and then we have intro to health. All of these classes help to form the Governor's Health Science Academy. And within this academy, these students have opportunities to go out and do clinicals within, I think we have over 40 different clinical sites that they're able to visit. Anywhere from dermatology to ER, med-surg, you name it, we give them the opportunity to see it before they enter the health field. Each of our programs, they help prepare students for entry-level positions, and these programs, again, we want them to have certifications, we want to have credentials so that they can kind of move forward for those that are just entering at the bottom line. We do offer online courses. You know, not every student wants to spend 2.5 hours over at Gibson every day. So a couple of years ago, what we did was we decided we would offer some online courses so that students could stay at the base school and have access to Susie Gibson. And we'll go over those courses here in just a minute. All right, so kind of our programs that we have automotive technology is a 2-year program. Mr. Mathai runs that program, and he has a solid customer base. How many of you have taken your cars over to one of our programs? Anybody got a haircut? Okay. So all of our programs do have what we call a customer base. And believe it or not, it's for the community. People can bring their cars in. People can come in and get a haircut. People can ask our building and construction to go build a deck for them. All these programs, they are doing these things. Culinary arts, they're catering weddings. They're catering events in Bedford, for Bedford County. So yeah, we do have the opportunity. So to kind of explain that a little bit is, for example, I got my oil changed yesterday. So Mr. Mathai gave me the invoice. So he wants me to, or what you do as a customer, you pay for the parts. Okay, once you pay for those parts, he will tell you what the labor would be if you were to get it done at a dealership. So the labor, you see the parts, and what they do is they ask you to give a donation towards that labor. And I think that's fair enough. And you're still coming out on it ahead as far as the price is concerned. We do have our HVAC and refrigeration class that started up 3 years ago. This class also, we're in the process of trying to get it dual enrolled with CVCC. Culinary arts is dual enrolled with CVCC. Those students earn 6 credits, but we're working on HVAC and refrigeration so that they can do the NCCE or Core 1 classes and then go into 3 and 4, 2, 3, and 4 when they enter CVCC and have at least, what we said this morning, is 6 to 12 credits for CVCC. Again, we do have cosmetology. Students work on mannequins, live models, and we have customers that come in and get their hair done. This year, the interesting thing with cosmetology is they're required to spend hours using a straight razor. I told them to use like the plastic one to start off with. But they did ask me if I would be the first one to step up, and I'll do it. Hopefully, we do have a nurse on. We do have a nurse on. Our early childhood education teachers, this year, they're going to, the great thing, they get CVC credit. They're going to Bedford Primary, their school, to work with the pre-K and pre-K through first grade classes, work with the teachers, firsthand experience. And they'll we'll be able to talk to them at the end of each 9 weeks to see how things are going. The teachers there will be able to serve as mentors to them, kind of give them ideas on how to do things and so forth. Cybersecurity, we have lots of things going on with cybersecurity. Basically, we look at threats, we look at how to reduce the number of threats that come in, but also we're looking at, cybersecurity is pretty high-paying profession. So we were very lucky to find a cybersecurity teacher that's willing to make $50,000 as opposed to, $100,000 to $200,000 a year. So the kids enjoy that. That is a program that's grades 9 through 12. So, and then we have our junior ROTC. These guys are everywhere, and gals, they're everywhere. Every community event, you see the junior ROTC here. Grades 9 through 12. A lot of these students, they spend the first 2 years in the program, and then they transfer into, say, auto body, auto tech, construction, and so forth. So they get high recommendations from the cadet or from Colonel Payne and First Sergeant. But when they're not out in the community, they're out winning air rifle championships 2 years in a row. They have won our county. It's not a county; it's a region air rifle championships, and we're very proud of that. You'll see them at the D-Day Memorial. You'll see them at Centerfest. You'll see them everywhere. And these are the programs, as I mentioned before, that are in our Governor's Health Sciences Academies. Forensics Technology, Medical Terminology, which is CVCC again, and that's online. Intro to Health is online. Practical Nursing is a little different. A lot of you may not be aware of this, but we do have a unique practical nursing program where first-year students, our high school students, are mixed in with adult students. So they spend the whole year kind of working together, learning from one another. I think the high school students are able to help the older nursing students, I should say, with technology, and they kind of work together. And then you have these adult students that have been in the workplace. They know what to expect, and they're able to help the high school students and develop that relationship there. And then PN2, they're all adults, and they're doing 400 hours of practical experience and clinicals. We have Nurse Aid, which is a 1-year program, and then we have biotechnology, which is an online program as well. So the pathway that we've created is Intro to Health, Midterm, CNA, Practical Nursing. 4 years covered for those that are interested in going to the medical field. 4 years covered right there as a pathway. Somebody had a question about what is a credential. A credential is a certification that shows a student has mastered a specific CTE content. And so businesses want to see all these credentials. They want to see what they've mastered, whether it be 608, handling a refrigerant, whether it be the 9 possible ASE certifications you can get from Autotech. And we're gonna have ASE certifications and ICAR certifications for auto body. They wanna see these credentials. LPN, CNA, cosmetology, they all have to sit for a board exam at the end of the year. So far, we have about a 90% pass rate for LPN, 100% pass rate from last year for CNA, cosmetology, 100% on the hands-on, 50% for the written. They took it again, and we got up to 80%, which was quite an improvement. So our students have earned over 200 credentials at our school this year. Our goal is to earn more. The VDOE put out a credential list for 24-25, and so what we want to do is a requirement for our teachers. We want to make them seek out as many credential opportunities as possible. Don't just do one credential. You know, ASC's has 9. Some, you know, construction has 1, but he also does the pre-construction license with them, but that's not recognized by the VDOE, so he will do some things to kind of see which credential list will fall within our programs. And again, as I mentioned before, we have dual enrollment credits, midterm, early childhood education, and culinary arts. Some of our celebrations, we doubled the size of our signing day students that were recognized from last year to about 33. That was a great event. I think a lot of you were there to witness that. With the help of the Bedford Chamber of Commerce, we held a career expo for BCPS students for 7th graders. They came in. We had businesses there. We had our teachers there. They rotated through and just kind of got an idea of what's out there in Bedford County and local surrounding areas. A lot of our students participate in Skills USA. We had 23 students advance to the state skills competition. We had a state winner for building maintenance. We had 3 early childhood education students placed second. Josh, can't read this. Placed second at the National Educators Rising competition. That was in Washington, D.C. So we couldn't do it without the partnership of the Bedford Chamber of Commerce, the County Office of Economic Development, Virginia Career Works, and our advisory committees, which we met this morning, our CTE advisory committee. Those are the people that give us the relevant and current industry trends, the needs, the technologies, and the practices to look for in someone that they're trying to hire. And again, we kind of mentioned before some of the high-quality work-based learning experiences that we do have. We do have superb labs in our Autotech and our auto body. We do offer, again, we offer to the public. As long as you come in ahead of time, don't come in the day of and say, hey, I need this fixed. Our students are more than willing to work with you on any of these projects. They're all hands-on and community focused. So one of the things that we did with our internships this year, we brought them back, since COVID, we brought back 3 internships through our Autotech program. We had 3 students spend 40 hours during the springtime. They spent every Friday, with the permission of the base school, they spent 8 hours a day, once a week, working at, say, Terry Volkswagen. I think they did house those 3 students working there all day long to kind of get an opportunity to see what it's like to work in a dealership. And we're hoping to have more internships as well for this year. And the last thing that I'll talk about are our teacher expectations for student success. One of the things that we want our teachers to do this year is we want them to invite 2 businesses in each 9 weeks. So we're not going to stop the learning process. We're going to invite them in, let them watch the students work, kind of see how they're doing things, and you know, you can just by seeing, you can see what kind of person or employee this person might be, and so forth. So we will give them an opportunity to talk maybe at the last 5 or 10 minutes but we want them to see what our programs are all about and how we're preparing them for the workforce. Our teachers will continue to support students with resumes, job applications, interview skills, soft skills, and so forth. And the best thing out of all this is the Meet the Graduate event. Mark Mathai created this last year. So basically, he came up with an idea. We all have advisory committees. He invited his advisory committees, which are the businesses in the community. He invited those people in to meet the graduates. And what they did was we set up kind of like a round robin table, and each graduate went to each business and interviewed with each one. So out of that, we got someone hired at the bus shop. We got someone hired down here at Overstreets, and we also got a student hired at Terry Volkswagen. So we're going to require that all of our programs do the Meet the Graduate event, and hopefully our numbers will increase as far as those students that are employed when they leave Susie Gibson.
All right, good evening. Thank you for, as Mr. Gall said, my name's Kurt Hetherington. I serve as his assistant principal for Susie Gibson and run the AEC program. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to highlight some of the programs we offer at AEC. We're fortunate to have a dedicated staff that's dedicated to student success and is flexible with working through these different programs. At AEC, we have 5 programs currently running through our school. We have the Alternative Education Program. We have ISEP, which is under 18 GED program. We have Bedford Connects Remote Learning Program. We have a post-secondary transition program, and then we have the Adult Education GED ELL program. And we'll take a minute and go through each program. So the Alternative Education Program, we are set up to provide students in-person learning environment who are on a long-term suspension from their base school. We work to create a safe and secure learning environment free of distractions so that we can mainly focus on the instructional piece and any coping skills or mental health management that we may need in order to make the transition back to the base school as smooth as possible. When we get a student in from the base school, our end goal is for that student to transition back to the base school after they serve their time with us and remain there and not make it a revolving door where they keep coming back to us. Last year, 66 students in total attended AEC. 38 of those transitioned back to the base school. 4 graduated, and the rest of those their suspension terms rolled over into this year, so that's who we started with at the beginning of this year. Our next program, the ISEP program, which is our students between the age of 16 and 18 that want to pursue their GED. We offer this program. There's some VDOE regulations. We are a grant program, so we follow what the VDOE sets for that. Students must be between that 16 and 18 and must be over a year behind academically. We have a diagnostic test that students take to test into the program, and once they're in the program, then they have to follow all of the GED criteria to pass the program. We've had a decent amount of success with that program. Students are usually referred by the base school counselor, and then we go through the process to see where they fall with that. We've had 28 students last year participate. 18 of those earned their GED. And there's a few that are still in the program from last year continuing to try to pass those tests. To get their GED, they need to pass 4 tests, and they work through them as they can. Our Bedford Connects Remote Learning Program is our virtual program for Bedford County Public School students. Our goal for this program is just to make sure that students are meeting the same academic standards as in-person students, as student in-person learning in BCPS. We SOL test at AEC these students, and we make sure they are remediated at AEC and provide them with as much support as possible. Our teachers at AEC serve as learning coaches for these students, and they work with teachers online. Last year, we were fortunate to have 13 students graduate from Bedford County out of this program, and we continue to work with those students in there. Our next program, the Employment Exploration Extreme Program. A student came up with this name a few years ago and it has stuck, so we're going to keep with it. It is just designed for postgraduate students who have an IEP to get some authentic workplace environment experience. So after they graduate, they can enter this program. The instructor takes the students out. They work with the community partners that we have to develop job skills. The goal of this program is for students to be job ready when they exit the program. We would like for them to be equipped with the skills to obtain and sustain employment after they leave us. We are fortunate just to have a great group of partners through this program and continue to work to build that. Some of our partners are listed there: Super 8 Food Line, Golden Corral, Joann's Fabric, Home Depot, Lynchburg Grows, and then we actually place them at 2 Bedford County Public Schools that they can work at. And it's been successful. We're actually growing the program, and the students are really getting a lot out of that. Our last program is our adult education program. Students can come to this and they can earn their GED or hospitality credentials. Hospitality credentials and certifications such as front desk representative, guest services, maintenance employee. So a lot of that is us working with community members of individuals that already have jobs, and we give them the training on job site. So our teachers will go out to Runkin Pratt and work with this group of students just to give them the certifications, the credentials, so they can either improve at the job they're currently doing or give themselves opportunities to grow. So our goal at the end of that is for any student to either achieve those credentials or earn their GED if that's the track that they're on. Like I said, our group of teachers are very flexible in working with this. They do it online, they do it in person, they're out at the businesses working, and we're just really fortunate to have them doing that. At the end, just to highlight some of the things that we're doing, AC, we're now serving elementary students here at Bedford County Public Schools for those students that are on that short-term, long-term suspension that need those services for us. We continue to grow that employment exploration program, continue to build partnerships with the community, and we, again, this year and every year, we have just a recognition ceremony for any student that has to graduate from AEC or earns their GED or credentials, and we just feel that's really important there at the end of the year to celebrate their success. I think I speak for both of us, we're both very appreciative of the board, superintendent, executive team, directors, supervisors that prioritize what we're doing and understand that we're offering Bedford County Public School students a bunch of opportunity here through his programs that we have on our end, and just give them chances. Questions?
All right, any questions?
You always look at me.
Unless
I have a reputation. As a wife who's been in the hospital for 2 months with my husband, the CNA were fantastic, and so I think that's wonderful that we keep getting more CNAs because it's a tough job, and was very, very appreciated. So that's awesome that we're doing that. I didn't bring my car in, but I did ask Mr. Morgan to build me a cat house. He is building me a cat house. I'm excited to get that. Right now, my cat's sleeping on my porch, so. So one of the things I was asking, what do you do in the community to find out where the, shall we say, gaps are in what we need in the workforce in the community? And do you take that into account as you're looking at possible CTE programs or adding new ones?
Yeah, I mean, we would like to add some new programs. I think criminal justice would be, it's always a need it's a huge need right now for police officers and so forth. We would like to add that program along with our electricity program back. The criminal justice program would fit well because it doesn't require a lot of equipment. To get the electricity program back, we're gonna have to do some reshuffling because we did add the HVAC in. But I think we can make it work, but we just got to move some people around, so. There are some needs, plumbing, things, welding, things like that, but in our current situation with our current building, we're full and we can't take any more programs that will take a lot of equipment, will require a lot of equipment.
So do you see the criminal justice one being a possibility in the near future?
Could be a possibility. That's gonna go on our CSIP is to be able to implement that for next year.
And I also wanted to say that your interviews are really awesome. That's great. They need to be getting those getting used to how to do an interview and how to do it. And I also wanted to just say, when you're doing the Bedford Connects remote learning, are you using Virtual Virginia or are they using stuff from the classrooms in one of our high schools or what are they doing?
We use Edmentum for virtual in AEC, so they have a program, Ed Options, it's off Edmentum, where it's similar to Virtual Virginia, it's just different. They have their own set of teachers, and we just basically serve as a learning coach and facilitate. So one of my teachers may be your learning coach, you would call them, and I would facilitate the interactions if you're not getting that in. So yeah, it's similar to Virtual Virginia, it's just a different program.
And I love whatever both of y'all are doing to try to get these kids into the workforce. Because sometimes they just need a little extra direction or push because that can be very overwhelming. So thank you for what you're doing, that's awesome.
Quick question for you. Can you touch a little bit more on Skills USA and what that really means? Because I don't think the community understands what Skills USA is.
So
'Cause it's very
Skills
important.
USA is, you have a local competition. I think Franklin County, Pennsylvania County, all the schools come together and they compete and say like construction, electricity, HVAC, building maintenance, all of the things that we have at our school, they compete against these other schools and they're judged by outside judges. For example, construction has to build maybe a wall with a window in it. And so all of these programs or all these competitions are judged and then, like we said last year, 23 of our kids came out on top or placed first or second and were able to move on. So, we hope to continue the Skills USA. It's just another way to give students an opportunity for hands-on learning, but also to be able to talk to these judges after the fact to say, here's what you did wrong or here's what you did right and so forth.
Awesome.
Constructive criticism, I guess.
Yeah. And we talked about adding programs. Is there any future plans to bring back masonry as well?
I mean, the
'Cause I know we talked
mason,
about space.
right, space is the main issue. And right now we're using our masonry program for junior ROTC, which they have, 50 to 60 cadets. So I'm not saying it's out of the question, but I think we need to look at it, moving down the road.
Thank you, sir.
We only have one junior IROTC for all 3 high schools.
Yes.
Maybe we need to move that to each of the high schools. That means more people.
Well, they would have to, I think you can only have 2 instructors per like 300 kids.
Yeah.
So I don't think we would be able to do that.
Guys good? Mr. Doss, how many students do we have attending Susie G. Gibson? What was to start the year?
Right now, we have 474.
474. And just real quick, how does that compare to 2 or 3 years ago?
2 or 3 years ago, before the online opportunities is probably around 200, 230.
All right, cool. All right, very good. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Moving on to 2.02, Superintendent's Report. Mr. Dupere, we have 26 minutes. Is that, I don't know how long the report's going to be.
Okay, no. I'd first of all like to start out by thanking all the employees, starting from basically bus drivers, maintenance, custodial staff, cafeteria staff, faculty staff, administration, central office, school administrators, leadership teams, executives, for what I am being told is a fantastic start of a school year. I was told it's one of the cleanest starts that we've had in a number of years. And so I want to say thank you to all the internal stakeholders who've made that possible, put in a lot of great work. The second thing I'd like to do is remind the board and the public that I am still continuing my visits to schools. And when all said and done, by end of October, I will have had probably near 60 SWAT meetings, either individually or collectively with teachers, parents. I still have 4 parent SWATs to go, and I have about 15 school SWATs to go. My intention also is to get into the schools and meet with the student councils to be able to do that same thing. So what I'm gathering right now is a plethora of information on strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats as they pertain to an individual school or the division collectively. So what I intend to do with that is, after sharing it with the board, then start moving that into parts of maybe the Board of Supervisors. I had a conversation this morning, very briefly, with the young lady who runs economic development, and I'd like to sit down and share some of that with her as it pertains to what she does. And so collectively, what I'm trying to do is get a perception of the county and to take people's perceptions. And then at some point offer correction where the perceptions might be twisted a little bit, and also reinforce where they are solid. And so I'm seeing some pretty good things coming out of that. I have 4 additional parent town halls coming up. October 8th at Montvale Elementary area, October 15th Big Island area, October 17th Liberty Middle School, October 30th in the Manita area. And so probably look to November, as there might be a point of where I will be able to aggregate all that and give it to you. Also, on Monday, September 16th, the cell phone free education executive order number 333 comes out from Governor Youngkin's office. The preliminary guidelines look to suggest that we'll probably could be going bell to bell. That still remains up in the air as far as what the final bill will look like or policy will look like. That policy would take place on January 1st. Now, what that gives us is about 4 months to then come up with some type of policy change, plus to be able to come up with a plan for those students that will find life is very anxious ridden without their phone for 7 hours a day. So at this point, the Office of Student Support Services will start working with our existing mental health support programs involving our counselors and our IDS staff, which are embedded on our campuses, and the counselors and the staff will engage with high school students to talk about how we can best solve any issues that come up. This policy would then go effective on January 1st. So we'll just play it by ear going through that and see where the kids land. I've had 3 discussions with students in a classroom, on a sidewalk in front of JF after the final bell release of one day. And more recently, at a Youngkin event, 3 young men who stopped to interview Governor Youngkin. And they asked me, why is the governor doing this? And so I gave them statistics about the same statistics and a little bit more of what the governor has been using for suicide rate, anxiety, and clinical depression. And the kids really responded positively. We didn't know this stuff. So I think Mr. Tucker is going to have some success in having conversations with these kids because they're hungry for wanting to know why. Now, that doesn't mean that all 100% will. So we want to be prepared for those that do have some anxiety issues about letting go of their phone. I also want to throw a teaser out. Tonight, you're going to hear from Dr. Trosper, the Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and Ms. Kelly Jennings, Director of Special Education, on our SOL scores from last year. I'm just going to throw this teaser out there. In the previous year, we were ranked 47th in the state, and you'll have to wait for their presentation to figure out where we ended up now, but I think it's a significant gain. I think you're going to be excited by that. As we move through this year, there are new trainings that are coming and taking place so that hopefully we don't stop where we ended up this year. We keep getting better and better and better at it. So I think you'll be excited to hear that. And anywhere there are issues where there were not significant gains, then there is a plan in place to help those kids in certain grade levels. The last thing I'd like to mention is, with great sadness, I convey the passing of Matt Uselton, English teacher at Liberty High School, who's been there for the last 11 years. Matt taught all levels of English to include dual enrollment AP classes. He was also known for his involvement as a golf coach, tennis coach, involved in Scholastic Bowl Barbecue Club, and was dedicated to the Liberty High School Marching Band, known for his creativity in helping create the step routines for their halftime performances. He will be greatly missed on that campus. I ask that you keep his family and the many Liberty High School Minutemen, present and past, that have been affected by this man's life. And so I think there will be a memorial coming up at the end of this month. So just keep them in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 2.03, we just heard we'd be getting this, the final SOL reports. Dr. Trosper and Mrs. Jennings.
Good evening. In June, we presented preliminary SOL scores, and so just a quick summary of those scores showed that all of our schools, K through 12, met state benchmarks for reading and math. In middle school, we shared had previously been an area of real concern for us, and we were proud to share that all 3 schools performed very well, and so we really highlighted their success. At the time, our subgroup scores were not available, and so tonight we're going to be sharing those. Not only are Virginia schools monitored based on achievement for all students' overall pass rates, they're also monitored for performance of achievement groups, and those groups include Asian, Black, economically disadvantaged, English learners, Hispanic, multiple races, students with disabilities, and white students. And so as we focus on these subgroups, sometimes you hear them referred to as gap groups. And the reason we call them gap groups is because often their achievement is lower than the overall pass rate. And so historically, Bedford County has focused on students with disabilities, Black and economically disadvantaged students. Many of the other subgroups are just too small to measure or don't really impact our accreditation. And so today, Ms. Jennings and I will be presenting data on these subgroups and also some updated accreditation ratings. Accreditation ratings mean that schools would earn one of the following accreditation rankings based on performance. A school could be either classified as accredited, which means all school quality indicators are either level 1 or level 2, or they can be accredited with conditions, which means one or more of the indicators could be at a level 3. There is an additional accreditation rating, which is accreditation denied, and that would be for schools that fail to adopt or fully implement corrective actions to address their level 3 indicators. So tonight, I wanted to share that preliminary accreditation data. We'll see the final data in September, or at the end of September, but all of our schools will be accredited, And 2 of our schools, Bedford Elementary and Bedford Primary School, will be accredited with conditions. And the reason for the conditional accreditation is that Bedford Elementary was a level 3 in science, and then Bedford Primary was a level 3 due to chronic absenteeism. So we've got some work to do to address those levels, but overall our schools did quite well. And again, they all are accredited. So just for reference, 89% of schools in Virginia are accredited and 11% are accredited with conditions. Now, I do want to share that this is the last year under our current accreditation ratings. The state board just approved a new accreditation system, so we'll be sharing that with you as we get more information. Another thing that I wanted to call your attention to is school quality profiles. Accreditation ratings are they measure school performance on multiple indicators. And so if you look at a quality profile, you'll see 3 ratings, level 1, level 2, and 3. And what a level 1 means that the school performed at or above standard. And so that means the performance meets or exceeds the state standard, or the current year rate is in level 2, but there was adequate improvement from the previous year. If a school is level 2, that means they met a specified range defined by the state, or the current year rate is in the level 3 range and performance demonstrates adequate improvement from the previous year. And then finally, level 3, which means the school is below standard in that category. And again, the school would meet a specified range, or the performance has stayed at level 2 or 3 for 4 consecutive years. And so on the screen, I've shared an example of a school quality profile that shows the school's performance in reading, math, and science, and other performance indicators like our subgroups. So this is actually Liberty Middle School's school quality profile from the previous school year. And I highlighted this because we anticipate that all of those levels will be level 1 in green when accreditation rankings come out. So we are really, really proud and impressed with that. That was a concerning profile last year. And again, that we anticipate that will be almost all green. And I think it might be all level 1 when it's all said and done. So I'm really proud of them. Now, wanted to bring this back to your attention, as Mr. Dupere said, before we get into the subgroup data, we do have updated state rankings to share. So if you can recall, we did display that in June, and the chart displayed the overall pass rates for Bedford County over the past dozen years, and then their relative rankings compared to the state. And so as you can see, we were in the top third already last year, so we were proud of that, but updated data that we received since that board meeting shows that our achievement moved from 47 to 36. So we actually moved up 11 slots. So we were very, very proud of that. This is the highest that we've been able to find. I've seen data back to 2006, and the 36 ranking is the highest that we've been since then. So again, very proud to share that with the board. We had a really good year last year, and so the subgroups will continue to show, while there's some concerns, we certainly have shown growth in those areas as well. Now, I do want to share one more slide. The data on this slide is an additional point of reference for your consideration. It contrasts with the previous slide. So recall that we ranked 36 out of 132 divisions in overall achievement. The chart that you'll see on the board actually shows 115 school divisions where spending on instruction was available. So instruction spending is a key indicator of how much localities invest directly in student education. It includes teacher salaries, benefits, classroom supplies, materials like textbooks, software, other educational materials, professional development, instructional support like counselors, librarians, technology, and even extracurricular activities and clubs. And so Bedford County spent $9,820 per student last year on instruction, and this actually ranks Bedford County 103rd out of 115 divisions where this data was available. And so we understand that funding is not something totally in the school board's control, but I do think this chart shows how we are committed to efficiency. And so our staff do face a lot of challenges with funding, with recruitment, with retention, but our overall achievement and even our subgroup achievement, as you'll see, is strong when compared to the rest of the state. And so I highlight this just to show the dedication of our administrators, our teachers, our support staff. And so I do commend them for what they have done in the face of challenges. So at this time, Ms. Jennings will share the performance of students with disabilities.
All right. So the next 2 charts are going to show that achievement that, like Dr. Trosper said, our students with disabilities. And it's going to show it in 2 different ways. As you can see, across is the grade. So if you go horizontal, you'll see how each grade did each year. And if you do the diagonal with the color-coded, that is the cohort of students as they progress from grade to grade and how they're achieving in each grade. So the first chart, this is English Language Arts, and as mentioned, it is provided in those two formats. So when we're looking at the numbers of students, that also changes. So if you think about subgroups, that's going to change each year. So for example, the 22-23 school year, third graders, there were 69 students that this percentage was taken off of. In the 23-24 school year, there was 48 students. Because, as we said before, these are small groups and they do change and vary over time. So as you can see, grades 4th, 6th, 7th, and 8th in our end of credit writing have really shown increased scores for the 23-24 school year. And many of our scores kind of fluctuate for each grade, as I told you, as we do the cohorts. But as you can see, we're on an upward trend for 23-24, and our students are progressing in these areas. And I'll show you more details of that as well as we move on. The next one is math. And this again is the same way that I just explained the language arts. It's the same kind of format. And you can see we're really increasing with math. Overall increases are shown for all grades except for third for 23-24 for the 23-24 school year. The cohorts of students are shown. But I really want to highlight the Algebra 1. If you see that Algebra 1 percentage, they are overall doing very well. Matter of fact, they are close to performing at the same rate that our students without disabilities as a whole are performing. Their performance rate was about a 76%. So I'm really proud to show that our students with disabilities are doing well. And this Algebra 1 course is also one of those for a verified credit that they need to get that standard diploma. So we are very happy with seeing that Algebra 1 score and hope to see it continue to increase. So on the next slide, as Dr. Trosper already talked to you all about on slides 2 and 3 about accreditation and the levels, I also want they do it for subgroups. So I wanted you to see where we were with our subgroups for each elementary school. And as you can see, most of them are at level 1, which means we're meeting those state standards for our students with disabilities. That when you see the schools where it says too small, that means there was too few of students to be able to get a percentage or to be able to do the levels for them. So we're proud of this group, and this is for reading, and it's for our elementary group. The next chart shows our math for elementary group, and again, we're mostly in that level 1 or level 2 grouping, which means we are meeting those standards as Dr. Trosper explained earlier. Now, the middle school and high schools, as we look for secondary reading, we are seeing some level 3s there, and we're aware of those. And as Dr. Trosper said, our middle schools are improving, and we did see growth for them. So we're hoping to continue to see them and get out of this level 3, but those are areas that we will be working on. And the next is for high school, and again as well, we have a couple schools that are in that level 3. That we need to work on and provide interventions. And those schools are working hard, and those administrators are aware of those pieces. So next is our VAP. And on this slide, it shows that the VAP is the Virginia Alternative Assessment Program. And this is an alternative test for our students who qualify to participate who participate in a modified curriculum. So these students take the Virginia Essentialized Standards of Learning, or the VSOLs. And the VSOLs are based on the standards of learnings, or the SOLs, that have been reduced in complexity, and depth, excuse me. Our VAP pass rates for students continue to be high, as you see that 85.9%. I do want to let you know that parents are able to opt out of students taking SOLs as well as the VAP. And with 11 students opting out, if we took those out of the percentage, we would have had a 90% pass rate, but they're considered failed when they do opt out. So we do overall our students really do well in this modified curriculum and passing those VAP scores.
The next two charts are going to show achievement of economically disadvantaged and Black students in Bedford County. The charts show comparison of achievement groups from the 22-23 school year to the 23-24 school year. And it also compares the performance of these subgroups to all students during the 23-24 school year. So the one you see on the screen shows performance in English language arts. The cells highlighted in green indicate an improvement from previous school years, and cells highlighted in red indicate no improvement. Economically disadvantaged, 5 of our 7 grade levels improved from the previous school year. And then for our Black students, 3 of the 7 grade levels improved from the previous school year, while 5th and 6th grade stayed steady. So they only dropped by 1 percentage point. Neither subgroup outperformed all students. This slide shows math performance. So as you can see, economically disadvantaged, 6 of the 9 grade levels improved from the previous school year. And for our Black students, 7 of 9 grade levels improved from the previous school year. And note, and this is really good to see, in our 8th grade, our Black students actually outperformed all students, which is, we're really, really impressed with that. So congratulations to them. So overall, regarding our subgroup achievement, we have seen progress. There's obviously a need for continued improvements. And so we'll be continuing to work on that and prioritize our support to our schools. But at this time, we're happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Mr. Holbrook? Good?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, that's good that we're up to 74% pass rate. But our ranking, we were at 82% pass rate in 17, and we weren't ranked at 47. So obviously, I mean, it's good that we're up because, I mean, it was way down after no test after the COVID jump or whatever. But we're still pretty good ways away from where we were before that.
Well, yeah, our current
I mean, because obviously we made it to 36 because at 74%, we made it to 47 at 82%. You see what I'm saying? We had a better pass rate back then, but we were ranked lower.
Yeah.
Just means everybody else is doing worse too, I guess.
Well, and that's true. I mean, there were some real challenges with COVID. One thing to remember is the standards do change about every 7 years, and then the rigor of the test has actually gotten tougher. So
Gotcha.
the percentage is probably not comparing equally as much as the relative ranking. So we all took the same type of test, and so that's just compared how we did to them.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Mr. Nelms?
So you're saying that the test already changed for the SOLs this past year?
They typically do every 7 years, and so we have had some changes since these tests have been given. So it's not an exact 7 years, and every subject's had a different year. But the pass percentage is often changed because what you see is the first year of a test, when new standards are taught, the scores tend to drop. Typically, they're more rigorous. That we've got 3 new subject standards this year, and we anticipate those being quite a bit more rigorous. And so, again, it helps to look at relative rankings just to kind of get an idea of where we are compared to other divisions.
So I've noticed a couple of things on the 3rd grade levels, for math and language, as well as the difference for the Black community in both 3rd grade and then again in 7th grade. What are you doing differently for, like when you assess that there's some problems with that section or 3rd graders or whatever? What are you doing more than what you would normally do when you have an issue like that?
Yeah, thank you for that. I want to say, first of all, typically 3rd grade is lower. This is not unusual. It's the first year these kids take a high stakes test. They're still learning test taking skills. They're still learning how to be students. So we always anticipate that 3rd grade's going to be a little bit lower. But in terms of how to support those kids, we know they're going to need more support, like teaching test taking skills, maybe with more intensity than you might other grades. What's happening right now is our schools are looking at their school improvement plans and they're looking at their data. Some schools 3rd grade was an issue and some schools it wasn't. And so really every school approaches it a little bit differently. But what I can say kind of from a general perspective is we are going to be giving what we call the VALS test. It used to be PALS. That's going to identify our struggling readers. And so families should start seeing scores really early next week, mid next week. And anybody that is identified as high risk would get an additional 2.5 hours of remediation. And then something that is new this year with the Virginia Literacy Act is student reading plans. Every kid that is identified as high risk would get an individual student reading plan to try to address whatever concerns that test showed. So that's going to help out with the reading part. And then in addition to that, our teachers are actually getting trained in the science of reading. That's an intensive training, again, that's required by the state, but just a lot of good strategies that we think are going to help our struggling readers. So that's really what we've leaned into as a division. Now in math, really our focus this year is on learning the new standards. So they are teaching for the first time new math standards, and so we've got to really focus on aligning what we do with what the new standards are so our scores will work. And then a few years ago, we implemented numbers and number sense routines, which are kind of manipulatives, which are more hands-on, very basic math routines. And we found scores were really improved that time, and so we're trying to put a focus again on every day doing just a few minutes of number sense routines to try to reinforce those basic concepts. And again, the younger they are, the more important that is. So that's something we've tried to support. And as far as special education, I'll let Ms. Jennings.
Yeah, and sort of the same thing that we have, we've got a special education academy that we're doing, that we're training for teachers to help them with learning and all of the things that come with special education, but to help them in how to teach students with special education and how to do that specially designed instruction. That's another PD that we're really looking at right now, is that specially designed instruction. What does that look like for students and how that needs to be provided to them through those interventions and other pieces. We've also bought some intervention or supplemental curriculums for our students with disabilities, the Sunday system, which is a multi-sensory reading approach, as well as Moving with Math, to really hone in on all of our students. Not just, I know you were asking about 3rd grade and 7th grade, but to work with any of our students with disabilities, that where they're missing that gap or where they need that extra intense intervention, that we're able to provide that to them, and that training is there. We have 2 lead teachers, one for reading and one for math, that works with our teachers and students to help them with that as well. So really knowing the data, knowing who those students are, and filling in those gaps with those programs.
And I think I speak for the rest of the board, is that our goal is to get Bedford County being number 1, not 36, but 36 is on our way, which is good. And I think you guys are doing a great job in getting us there, so continue the good work. Thank you.
Did you have any questions? We go to public comment. All right, we are going to we're gonna move to public comment right now, so we're gonna skip and we'll just come back to 2.04 after we're done here. So the public comment portion of tonight's agenda is limited to 40 minutes. Speakers are asked to state their name and voting district. School board is here to listen to your comments, but will not engage or respond to speakers during this 40-minute period. Please remember this is a public meeting and that we expect all speakers to refrain from any foul, profane, abusive, or hateful language during their comments or any time while in attendance during this meeting. We also ask that speakers keep their remarks objective and about the school in nature. Please keep all comments limited to matters related to public schools, and any comments that are harassing or amount to a personal attack against any identifiable individual, whether board member or staff or student, or having the potential to cause unnecessary delay or disruption to this meeting are prohibited. This is a public meeting for public matters. If a speaker is not present when their name is called, we will proceed with the next name on the list. An individual who has not signed up to speak may not substitute for that time slot. Individuals will have 4 minutes to address the board. An alarm will sound when an individual has 30 seconds remaining, and a second alarm will sound when the allotted 4 minutes have expired. When this second alarm sounds, please discontinue speaking and allow the next person in line to come to the podium. Should you be unable to finish your comments, please send or give them to Mrs. Johnson, and she will give them to board members. Please do not adjust the microphone at the podium, as it has been positioned for optimum audio quality. First on the list, Heather Keene. No. Second, Dave Dietrich.
Good evening. This is meant to be encouragement, not a critique, and I hope it comes off that way. Former President Ronald Reagan once remarked, "Trust, but verify." I wish to emphasize it is the duty of us all to ensure that the reforms made by this school board are being implemented. we are preserving the very foundations of a liberal education. What does it mean to be liberally educated? It means teaching students the proper discovery of truth, teaching the wisdom of the ages, avoiding the bad and emulating the good, teaching how to grow intellectually, teaching how to grow morally, teaching how to think critically, teaching how to communicate properly and effectively. Overall, it means preparing students to be well-informed citizens and virtuous people. Our liberty can only be preserved by a well-informed and virtuous people. It is the fundamental role of government to protect natural rights and facilitate intellectual and moral growth. It is the fundamental role of education to do the same. As educators and concerned citizens, our duty foremost is ensuring that this is being done. Trust but verify. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Joshua Birch.
Hi. Okay, I'm speaking to the mic. So thank you. I wanted to provide some resources for you as a school board, and because I know that you're looking at different curriculum, and what I have here, I have a gift for you. This is a textbook, an American history textbook written by David Barton, and so. David Barton is and this is not something I would necessarily recommend to be in the school, in the elementary school or anything like that. It's a pretty college level kind of book or a high school kind of book, but it's something that I think would be a blessing for you to read yourselves and to enjoy. It talks about so a little bit about David Barton. He's an American historian. But he doesn't base his history off of other history books. He bases his history off of primary sources. So he goes and he looks up, what did the people actually say? What did the people actually do? So primary sources that he lists are letters that people wrote after an event. So if an event happened, he didn't look up to say, this is what people, this is what historians have said about that event. He goes and looks up, what did George Washington write to his wife after that event? What were the letters that people wrote about it? What were the people who were there? What did they document about the event? So he looks up the actual primary sources, and so he also goes into explain the culture and the worldview of early Americans. So I thought that might be a benefit to you because it actually talks a lot about the history of education in America, and I thought that might be helpful for you to look and learn and not just know stories about it, but to see the people who designed it and what they said. So another tool that you might want to look into, and this is something that could be used by teachers in various ways, is there is a show. It's free. It's made by Angel Studios, and it's called The Tuttle Twins. My children love it. It's free. It's available. But they talk about economics and morality primarily. So they deal with issues like inflation. Central planning, the dangers of large central planning for the few, critical thinking, avoiding having a victim mentality when there's injustice against you, dealing with unjust laws that are just not fair, things like that. So, but it's free and it's on angelstudios.com. You can log in and it's already paid for. Like you create an account, log in, and and it's just really enjoyable. It's a wonderful series. So I wanted to give you those two resources that it might be a blessing and a benefit to you as you lead. So that's it. Where would you like me to?
So, hand Ms. Johnson, please. Thank you. Thank you. Karen Toms.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm Karen Zimmerman Toms, a resident of District 5, Miss Purvis, a 1968 graduate of Liberty High School, a mom of two, and most importantly, a concerned, involved, and protective grandmother. My grandson, a sophomore at Liberty High School, plays basketball for the Liberty boys team, and my granddaughter, a freshman, plays volleyball for the Liberty girls team. For months and months, our AC unit in the new gym at Liberty High School has not worked. The gym is hot, stuffy, miserable for our athletes, visiting teams, and our fans, parents, grandparents, and the student body. I sit in the bleachers watching the girls wiping sweat out of their eyes while they're trying to play the game. I am an owner of a small family HVAC business, and taking care of our customers is our top priority. Why is the problem with the gym AC and our students not a priority? I understand the ins and outs of an HVAC business: drain pans, condensate pumps, dirty coils, leaking coils, frozen coils, freon leaks, and on. And yes, rooftop units do require a crane. That's standard installation in the process of putting a rooftop unit in and or repair. So the point I'm making is there really is no excuse for not having this repair completed by now. We never keep our customers hung out with no air conditioning for days, much less months. How would you like to come home from work on the hottest day of the summer and find your thermostat reading 90 degrees in your house? Would you like to wait months to get your air back on? I don't think so. I am angry because we are in this business and deal with difficult situations on a daily basis. My husband's message to our crew is there is no problem but only a solution. So everything else I've been hearing about not being able to get this air conditioner fixed is just an excuse for the AC not being fixed. Please take into consideration what has been presented to you and work harder, please, to get our air conditioning unit repaired at Liberty High School. Our family deserves better. Thanks for this opportunity to present this problem, to discuss this problem with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. We have several open slots left, and we have some time. Would anybody else that's here like to speak? All right, hearing none, I will close public comment. All right, let's go back to our, I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Trosper and Mrs. Jennings for that report. Thank you so much for that. Let's move on to the school activity audit. Mr. Hadler.
Yes, good evening. Each year, we have outside auditors come in and audit our school activity funds. These are the funds that our bookkeepers and principals oversee in our schools and take care of transactions in our school system. Last year, over $4 million of transactions went through our schools, in and out, and our bookkeepers did a fabulous job handling that. Please report, there's on board docs there for you to see is a complete audit of our financial statements. Each school is listed there with all the activities and all the accounts there, including a combined statement at the very beginning. In the auditing world, you usually get unqualified opinion on your financial statements. That's a good thing. When they do our school activity audits, they do not do that. They give us a qualified one based upon that, and it states there why they're doing that. The nature of our bookkeepers is a singleton in our schools. They receive the funds, they make the payments. And so that usually is a separation of duties that you have in an organization. Due to limited staff, we can't do that. But we have mitigated that we do the bank reconciliations at the central office. I have the head bookkeeper at the central office watching over those accounts. But it's still something that they say those controls in place, they cannot issue an unqualified. But from everything else, they said the statements are presented fairly, and we had a clean audit this year for our school activity funds. Be happy to answer any questions, but all the data is there for anybody that would like to see it on board docs, and I'll have it posted on our website next week under the financial page.
Any questions? All right, thank you. I guess we're going to stick with you. We have information items, item 3.01, supplemental appropriations.
Yeah, later in the evening, there will be some action items on supplemental appropriations. This was another one where the instructional department, under the leadership of Dr. Woodford, secured a school improvement grant with Title I money, $130,000. And most of those funds have already been expended. And this is a supplemental to add it to our budget, and then we'll seek reimbursement for those expenditures here shortly. So bringing this to the board for information tonight and bring it back to the board for action in October. This was reviewed by the Finance Committee when we met last, and bringing it to the whole board for review.
Any questions on that? All right. Thank you, Mr. Hagler. Moving on, a presentation 4.01 Cyber Safety and Education, which is presented by Mr. Eddie Worth and Mr. Graham Page.
Good evening. I'm Eddie Worth. I'm president of the Safe Surfing Foundation. The foundation was started right here in Bedford County by Sheriff Mike Brown back in 1998. And the foundation was created to educate kids on internet safety. We don't have but 15 minutes, and we're running a hour presentation into 15 minutes here, so I will answer any questions at the end, but I want to turn this over to Graham Page, which is our president CEO of Skill.
Hi, so I'm here all the way from California. I started Skill, I started my first company when I was 11 years old. A social media marketing company. I worked with Disney, Warner Brothers, Fashion Nova, and Hinge. And then I partnered with Safe Surfing to start Skill around the time when I was 17. Today I'm 21, and we're doing social media safety education delivered through AI-powered educational technologies. One of the largest crimes that we're fighting is sextortion. 5% of all youth are being sextorted, according to a study by Thorn, Ashton Kutcher's foundation. And every single child, 100% of children using social media are being approached by a cyber predator, which means that every child is at risk. In just the last 18 months, there's been a 1,000% increase of sextortion. And sextortion occurs when a predator coerces a child into sending a nude photo and then blackmails them if they don't pay. And often this leads to tragic outcomes like suicide, which happened to my girlfriend when she was 17. She committed suicide because she was sextorted by a Nigerian gang member on social media. And so I created this company to fight that, both through education to prevent it and through technology that's able to stop it and create solutions that are actively stopping sextortion from occurring and the tragic outcomes that follow it. With the Safe Surfing Foundation, we created the Your Space curriculum, which is an extension of CyberSWAT. CyberSWAT is something the Safe Surfing Foundation has been doing for probably a decade now. It is a peer-to-peer program on social media safety education, which has been very successful. And we've taken CyberSWAT and we've essentially put it into a scalable AI-powered model, where instead of peer-to-peer, it's influencers powered by AI that kids can talk to and get social media safety education advice and tools that are able to stop cybercrime in their tracks. One big thing is we passed a Senate Bill 466 in West Virginia mandating our program in every school in the state to 263,000 students in West Virginia. And we've worked with Roanoke County, Virginia to pilot this. We're here talking to you today. We were just at Campbell County earlier this morning and Airedale County, North Carolina. And this program is taking the 7 topics of instruction from Senate Bill 466, which I can't see from here, but you can all see it. These 7 topics of instruction are the core of our Your Space program, and we are educating through these interactive, groundbreaking category busters that we have for educational technology. On the left, you'll see Skill Arc, a choose-your-own-adventure movie game technology, where kids make their avatars and become the main characters in essentially movie games that are written by Netflix screenwriters and generated by AI as they make different choices. And as they type in their own choices, AI generates a script that follows so they can see the consequences of those choices. And it's essentially a practice round for online safety to see where different choices will take them in these different contexts. On the right, you'll see Deputy, which is an app we're launching in February of 2025 and piloting in the schools as of September of 2025. Deputy is both an AI literacy tool where you can learn to ask the right questions and a 911 for internet crimes against children, built with the technology to stop cybercriminals on social media. We work with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to integrate the cyber tip line and Take It Down. So what Take It Down can do is when a child is being sextorted or has their nude photos on somebody else's device without their permission, they're able to submit that photo, upload the hash value. That photo goes out to all participating tech companies like Apple, Snap, and Meta, and it gets taken off the blackmailer's phone. So it actually allows the child to stop the blackmail from happening. The nude photos are deleted from all the people who have it, and anybody who had that photo is reported to law enforcement for having child pornography on their device. This is the only and the first solution to sextortion, and we have made it very simple for them to use by going to an app with a fun interface where they're talking to an AI twin, explaining it in a conversation, not having to fill out any threatening police forms or anything that might scare them or deter them, and making it a very simple experience that they feel safe and comfortable with in being able to take down these photos and also report incidents such as child exploitation, ransomware, hacking, any sort of cyber crimes that occur online. And we tie into the ICAC task forces, Internet Crimes Against Children. We tie into the FBI. We tie into various hotlines and mental health hotlines, as well as suicide prevention. This is some pictures from us passing Senate Bill 466 in West Virginia. And this is a breakdown of how we took the bill and made sure that the program we implemented fit it to a T. As I briefly went over, Deputy is the first AI companion advisor in crisis support and the 911 for internet crimes against children. So rather than have a robot that talks to them and just seems like it's an AI, we took the voices and faces of influencers that the kids know, trust, and look up to, that they regard as peers. And we've been able to make the AI speak and appear in their voices and likenesses. Because when it comes from them, they listen to it. They don't listen to adults, they don't listen to law enforcement, they want to hear it from a peer. And it becomes a gimmick as well, something they love to do, something they have fun with, and a sidekick, a superhero, something they can ask questions, what on social media, what do I, this thing happened, what do I do? Or, what do I do in this case? They can ask questions, their curiosity can be sparked, and then they can also ask questions about AI that is constantly updating with the evolution of technology. This new AI tool just came out, how do I use it safely? What are some use cases for it? And then, if 10 people go and ask different questions about social media safety, they're gonna get different answers, and it's gonna be an experience that's tailored to them based on their own curiosity and led by their own desire to learn social media safety, AI literacy, and to use it as a tool for safety whenever it's needed.
Hello, my name is Nikki. What is your name? By the way, our chat, stay between us. Hi, Brayden. I'm looking forward to our conversations. Do you want to choose me as your deputy or pick someone else? We are your deputies, ready to chat, teach, and offer advice on anything you need. Get to know us and let us assist you with everything from social media smarts and mental health tips to support in a crisis. Hi, Brayden, and what's on your mind? We can chat about anything you'd like, whether it's a specific topic, social media, your relationships, or just to get to know each other better. Of course, I am Nikki, Victoria's AI twin. Nikki is a content creator on Instagram. As her AI twin, I can assist you with crisis situations like shutting down cyber criminals on social media. I'm also here for advice, whether you want to talk about social media or just want to chat. I'm here for you. What would you like to know more about? I'm so sorry to hear that you're in trouble. Can you tell me more about what's happening? If you feel unsafe or need urgent assistance, please let me know so I can help you get the support you need right away. I am really sorry you're going through this. So here's what you can do. First, do not pay the scammer. Second, report the incident here. I can help file the report. You can choose to remain anonymous. Third, I can use Take It Down, a service provided by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This service works by using the unique digital fingerprint hash value of the photo you sent. By finding matching hash values, I can track the image across various platforms and remove it, even from the blackmailer's phone. Would you like me to proceed?
And if you would go to the website that I previously mentioned. So what you just witnessed was text and voice-based chat, but it gets as complex as this, where you can do a FaceTime call with the influencer's AI twin.
Believe it or not, I'm not a real person. I'm an AI first responder for Deputy, a technology by skill. Think of me as the 911 for internet crimes, built specifically to protect children. If you or someone you know is facing an online crime, I'm here to listen and help. I'm a swift AI responder, partnering with law enforcement to stop predators and criminals in their tracks. Deputized by Sheriff Mike Brown and the Safe Surfing Foundation, I use advanced technology from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to file reports with law enforcement, take down explicit photos shared without consent, and combat the criminal misuse of AI. Beyond emergencies, I provide 24/7 guidance to help digital citizens. Social media is your space. Together we make it safe.
Thank you. You can go back to the presentation. So on the other side of this, so that what you just witnessed was really a tool to, it's relating to questions you ask, prompting. I mean, that's a whole skill in itself, prompting, with the new wave of AI and the way it's affecting everything in technology and innovating at this enormous pace. There's really no way to teach AI but to use AI. There's no curriculum in standard context that can possibly cover it, because every question you ask using AI will invent a new dimension of AI, and it can create, millions and millions of, paragraphs of research in a few minutes off of something completely brand new that's never been thought of before. So the only way to teach AI is to teach the skill of prompting, which is inspiring the children to ask the right questions, guiding them, and having them do it with their other classmates, and using that as a means to learn more about social media safety, AI literacy, and then learn to use it as a tool that can help prevent these tragedies if ever they occur. On the other side, we have Skill Arc, which is focused on prevention. I went into a little bit briefly, but it is movie games that kids can play where they are the main characters and they learn through these simulations what to do in these sort of situations. The screenplays come originally from young adult novels that we license, like Perfect Little Monsters. These young adult novels are then turned into screenplays by writers that we've employed from Netflix and YouTube Originals. And those screenplays take the format of a choose-your-own-adventure novel with 3 different endings and 3 versions of each scene. But we've put it into a generative AI model that's able to write a 4th version of every scene based on what the child enters when they play it. So they can always make a forced choice by typing in their own desired outcome, and it'll write the script that follows it, so they'll see a movie unfolding in front of their eyes based on what they've just typed in, which is groundbreaking in itself, but applied to this context is truly incredible because it allows them to really test drive social media and the many different scenarios that can occur on it to see the best way to go about these situations and really develop a hands-on, do-it-yourself approach to how do I learn more about this, how am I safely using these tools, and turning their phones, turning their tablets, turning their devices into something that's powerful and innovative and not scary and dangerous and full of traps. At the pace of innovation, we have been creating technology after technology, AI after AI. It's going so fast, but nobody's educating them. And every new innovation gets scarier and scarier. I mean, we look at AI and we're terrified because nobody tells us how to use it safely. And we think this could go wrong and this could go wrong. And now we're talking about quantum computers in 5 years. And nobody has a clue how to use it. But if we start catching up with the pace of innovation through education, we educate in a way that's as fast and as powerful as the innovations that are occurring, we have a chance at making technology balanced again and making it a tool that can truly be used for good, for kids to be curious and research and learn and become truly empowered digital citizens. So we use influencers' likenesses like Steve Aoki. He's one of our headliners, as well as Aliana Lohan, Sierra Furtado, and we license their influencer likenesses across these many different contexts, including the movie games, the AI FaceTime video twins, and the voices for the text chat. So this also draws the kids into these figures they know and trust throughout the whole process of learning, and they're able to also find out about this program if they don't already have it through their school by saying, someone I love on Instagram and watch on my phone 20 times a day is part of this program. We have a dashboard for educators to implement it. If you could click play, please, thank you. When teachers want to create their classrooms, they just go and create the name and description, and it becomes as easy as a class code that kids, when they want to sign up, either on an iPhone, a tablet, or a Chromebook, it's also available on web, they can just sign up with their class code and begin to be enrolled in the class, and everything that the teacher just puts as part of the class, it just disappeared. It's all good. So we really want to make it as simple as possible, but also give teachers the option to be as involved as they choose to be. If they want to use it and really be hands-on, they can, but if they want to be more hands-off and let the kids sign up and guide themselves, it's also possible. But something very cool about the teacher dashboard that we've created is they're able to talk to the AI about how they want it to be delivered. If they say, I want this to be done in half the time, it'll be auto-generated and changed because it is just text that's put through a model. And you might have just caught a glimpse of that, but there's also scoring. Every student who completes the program, and as they complete it, they're automatically scored out of 10 in these 4 areas: knowledge and understanding, thinking and inquiry, communication, and application. And teachers can type into their AI, what are some areas that need improvement, what have they done best at. They will get a paragraph description in seconds about every student, or one student, or the most specific question they could possibly ask about the students they will get insights into, so they can truly see how they're progressing through these movie games and the skill curriculum. When it's on the student side, they're able to sign up by using the class code that the teacher generates when they create their class. They type in the class code, and then they're given the ability to write in their name and age and all the things that would customize their experience and have them added to the portal. And then they get to make their avatar, and that avatar is how they represent themselves in the games, and that becomes the main character in every movie game. So that avatar can be customized to however they want it to appear, different features, hair, clothes, body, and we work with fashion designers that have licensed their outfits to be exclusively provided on this, and we've really made it special so that they feel like they're really able to create an avatar they identify with. And that avatar, being the main character in every movie game, and they're able to make the choices, becomes a truly engaging, immersive experience where they can make up their own stories and figure out where their choices will take them, and explore in an environment that's very open but still very safe, very controlled, and they can explore every outcome without fear of what might happen from exploring. We want to inspire curiosity, and we want to teach them that technology is a safe place to do that. I think that's about it. Yeah. Something we would like to say is we are bringing this to the schools to pilot it for the first year completely free of charge. That goes for Roanoke County, that goes for West Virginia, and if Bedford County would like to pilot it starting September of 2025, we would be more than happy to make it free for 100% of the students that are involved in that pilot program.
We're about saving kids. That's what we're all about. That's what we've been about since Sheriff Brown started this in 1998. We can't afford to give this free, but we're going to. We've got some donors that have agreed to cough up in excess of $5 million to help us. That's how we can do it this first year for about 4 school systems. Why Bedford County? Sheriff Mike Brown. That's why Bedford County. He had the vision back in 1998 that the only way that we're going to be able to affect a kid's life is through education. And believe me, we have grown from 98 to 24 tremendously. And with the addition of these guys, this is amazing. This takes it all to a different level, right where we need to be. So we ask for your approval. If there's any questions you've got, we're ready to answer it. But you would be a beta force test program that we could actually take to our investors that are putting their money into this and say, these are the schools that are doing it. These are the ones that we've got on board, and they're going to provide us feedback on how we can make this better. That's what that year is all about. So we're giving it to you, but we're getting a whole lot out of it, right? It's just not financially. So that's our program, kind of in a nutshell, real quick.
Our supporters include Meta. We have met with John Devine, the 4th guy from Mark Zuckerberg, to work with us on this program. I just, the other day in LA, met with the head of trust and safety at Snapchat. I've met with Michael Bloomberg. I'm having breakfast with him. I've met with Jean Shafroff. I've met with Assemblywoman of New York State, Rebecca Seawright. We have so many supporters from all different parts of the country because everybody wants to get behind this cause that is protecting kids and making technology an inherently safe space.
You know, I will say one thing. I've had grandkids come through school. Cell phones now, taking these cell phones, I don't know, you gotta stand on this thing. I don't wanna tell you how I personally feel, probably shouldn't, but taking these cell phones away from kids during school is gonna limit their ability to learn in the future through technology. Good or bad, we've got to embrace technology at all forms, not keep it away from kids. But that has nothing to do if you guys don't want to beta this thing because of what I just said, I'm sorry. But we've got to embrace this technology.
I would like to say that we are going to make it as customized as you need because we work with every school district and every school board in the way that they want to implement it. We can customize the content standards, we can customize the delivery. Everything about this is, it's generative AI. We can do anything with it that we want it to be. So, and we've invented features. We also created a feature, as my fellow board member told me to mention, that these chats are private and we don't harvest data, but what we do provide to the schools is that if a child brings up a topic that they're obligated to report, like child abuse in the home or suicide, self-harm, we do notify the administrator on the account, the educator, that there is a problem. So we do keep things confidential, but there are certain things that we will do for the school every time. And whatever those needs are, when the school communicates to us, we will make that happen because we're committed to doing this with the schools in the way that they need us to do it.
And if there's something we need to change midstream with Bedford County, we don't have to have 5 levels of folks signing off on it. It's immediate. We can do it
Grammar I want, we can vote, make it happen. So we're not gonna wait 6 months, right? So it's a great opportunity. We hope you take us up on it. Any questions?
As Sheriff Brown says, because a child's innocence can never be replaced.
That's right.
Any questions?
So one of the questions that they, or one of the things that they said was if there's a picture that the child has submitted to the trafficker or whatever, then you would submit it to this program and then they would delete it. So they would have to actually provide that picture then.
Very good question. Actually, what they're doing is through a locally stored part of the program, which never leaves their device, they're converting that photo to a hash value, which is a string of text that's essentially the fingerprint for the photo. That photo never has to be transmitted anywhere. All that's done is taken, oh, this is the hash value of that photo. And the hash value goes out to Meta, to Snapchat, to Apple, and they say search and destroy. If you find this hash value, take it down because we know this is child pornography. That hash value is unique for every single photo, and there are no two that are the same, but those hash values do not have to identify what the content is.
Any other questions? Thank you guys so much for that presentation. Obviously, it is super important and it affects could affect everyone as the presentation said, but we've seen it here in this county and we've had several presentations bring this to our attention, and I think as a school system we have some level of responsibility to make sure that we can educate our kids, educate our parents, educate everybody in the community. So with that, I say thank you, and I'm sure this is going to be a topic of discussion that we'll be needing to consider. So thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Right. I guess moving on to additional action items, 7.01 update to the 24-25 school calendar. Dr. Woodford.
So recently, I sent the board a Wednesday memo giving you some information about recent required training that we learned about from the Department of Education. We knew the training was coming. We just didn't know how in-depth it was going to be when we created our 24-25 school calendar. So in that Wednesday memo, I provided some information and asked that we, if possible, could make this an action item tonight. Currently, the Virginia Literacy Act is going to require 25 to 30 hours of training for a large portion of our teachers. And then even since this memo came out, we found out that we were also receiving some required training that we can implement over 2 years, but it's about 16 to 20 additional hours for our teachers. So looking at our bank time that we have been accumulating, every year we create bank time, which is an extra 15 or 20 minutes a day of instruction, and that ensures that if we have emergencies like weather or flooding or smoke days, that we have time that we can make up. The state requires that when we have a day that we've had to cancel school, that we have to make up the first 5, and then the state gives us 5. We have plenty of bank time. We have to ensure that we have 990 hours of instruction. We have well above that. So what I'd like to ask is that the board consider adding 3 teacher work days to allow our teachers to complete the training, and also what they're learning in that training to apply to instruction and give them time to plan. Currently in our calendar, we have 2 2-hour early dismissal days. And I'm asking if we could make those full days where students are not in school, but the staff would have that time to do this online professional development and do planning. And then adding an additional day during the second semester, which is February the 17th, which is President's Day. Which is, a lot of our parents have that day off, so we felt like that might be a good day for students not to have school. So, basically, I do want to say I'm also looking at next year's calendar, which I'm working on right now, to build additional work days in for our teachers using our bank time. I've reached out to several school divisions who've moved from a 180-day calendar to a 990-hour calendar, which is required by law. And they are doing similar things. They are giving our teachers more time for work days, more time for training, because we have the bank time or the instructional hours required by law. So I'm just asking if you would consider allowing us to edit our calendar and put 3 full work days in for our staff.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
So you're saying the half days that you were going to have the students are now going to be no students and the full day is going to be training?
Correct. And then adding 1 additional day that we would have been a full school day, that February 17th, and just making it a work day.
All right, and this is for action, right?
Correct.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve the update to the 24-25 school calendar?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Purvis,
Second.
second by Mr. Nelms. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that is approved. 7.02, approval of 5-year capital improvement plan. Mr. Hadley.
Yes, this was brought to the board for information at the last meeting, and so it's being brought back to you for action tonight. Worked through the facility committee in developing this and a 5-year plan on what to expect at our different schools and what we plan on replacing or repairing.
Do we have any questions or anybody from the facility committee want to comment?
Well, let's say that even though we approve these things, they constantly change.
Yeah.
Due to whatever timing, pricing, whatever it may be, so it's not as detrimental as you might think.
It's essentially a vision of a plan that we'd like to do if everything fell into place the right way and at the right pricing.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, with that, do I have a motion to approve the 5-year capital improvement plan?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Holbrook, second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Nelms on the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 5-year capital improvement plan is approved. 7.03, approval of supplemental appropriations. Mr. Hagler again.
Yep, these two were brought at the, for information at the last board meeting, and are being brought back tonight for action. And that was a Stronger Connection Grant for security, $342,738, and ESSER, winding down our ESSER COVID money. This will be the last of it, $259,448.26 to be put into the budget for this year to finish those up.
All right. Does anybody have any questions on that?
So this is not asking them for more money, this is appropriating some of the stuff that we have.
This money's gonna be coming in, and it was not built into the budget. So what we're doing is we're recognizing when additional revenues like this come in, we have to get it into the budget to spend it. So what'll happen is after the board approves it tonight, I've already talked to Ashley Anderson at the county. I'll be on the next Board of Supervisors agenda because they actually have to take action on supplemental appropriations. So it's getting it into the budget, so it's authorized to spend.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to approve the supplemental appropriations?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Nelms, second. Dr. Huvak. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those, any opposed? All right, that was also approved. 7.04, approval of fiscal year 2024 carryover reappropriations. Mr. Hagler again.
And just to clarify on the last one, those were federal funds and state funds that are coming in, not additional from the county. So here is money from the county. So at the end of each year, when we have money remaining in our operating fund, we request from the county, brought this as info at the last board meetings for action tonight, to move that money into one-time expenditures. A little bit of complicated factor here was that some of the money left over in that fund was state money that they had given to us in advance that we're going to spend down this year. So some of that is going to be This reappropriation, part of that will go into the operating fund to spend down those advanced funds from the state, 2.7 million, thereabout, and 80,000 going to, or 745,000 going to the maintenance reserve fund. So we're splitting that up based upon those forwarded funds from the state, which is the first time they've done that in 18 years that I've been here. But
And the advanced funds from the state, was that all in Virginia?
it was eight on the document there. All in Virginia was part of it. We have 3 years to spend it, so we'll continue to do this until we spend it down. And then 80,000, they forwarded us money in June for security. Didn't have time to spend that. We've already spent it over the summer.
Okay.
But that, we had to get that into the budget. It was after we passed the budget that these things happened.
All right, any questions? All right, with that, do I have a motion to approve fiscal year 2024 carryover reappropriations? Mr. Nelms, second?
Second.
By Mrs. Purvis. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. 7.05, approval of policy updates presented at the August 1st board meeting.
The Intergovernmental Affairs Committee met on July 11, 2024 to review proposed revisions to the following 6 policies. Number 1, BBBC, Board Member Oath of Office. Number 2, BCG, School Board Legal Representation. Number 3, DJA, Purchasing Authority. Number 4, EBCD, School Closings. Number 5, EC, Buildings and Grounds Management and Maintenance. And number 6, GCBDD, Sick Leave Bank.
Does anyone have any questions on the policy updates that were presented in August? Hearing none, then do I have a motion to approve the policy changes?
So moved.
First by Mr. Holbrook, second
Second.
by Dr. Hubach. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
Mr. Vice Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that pursuant to Code of Virginia 2.2-3711 and 115 to discuss the assignment, appointment, performance, discipline, and release of contract for specific school board employees. 19 for discussion of plans to project school safety and consultation with law enforcement officials, where discussion in an open meeting would jeopardize the security of school facilities, that the board enter into closed session.
I have a motion by Dr. Hubach. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelms. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are in closed session. Ms. Johnson, will you certify the meeting, please?
A motion to come out of close.
Oh, what's that?
You need a motion to come out of
Oh,
close.
do I have a motion to come out of closed session? First by Mr. Nelms, second?
Second.
By Mr. Holbrook. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Whereas the Bedford County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, where section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Bedford County School Board hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
Yes.
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 We're at a closed session. Item 9, approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
First by Mr. Holbrook. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nelms. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Number 10, matters from the board. 10.01, committee reports. We'll start with Dr. Hubach.
Seems like I've got more and more committees, but. CPO committee met on August 27th, and we previewed a lot of the SOL data that we heard earlier this evening by Dr. Trosper and yes, Kelly, thank you. We also looked at the Hillsdale curriculum to see if we could incorporate that somehow, and it just doesn't align with the rest of the curriculum that we have, but we're gonna use it possibly as some supplemental information, because it's very good curriculum. Dr. Woodford had the pleasure of meeting with Joy Cover, who is the CEO of Freedom 424. And for those of you that aren't familiar with that, it's a family life curriculum that is focused on thwarting sex trafficking in the school systems, and it is a nonprofit that exists to prevent and end human trafficking domestically and globally through awareness, education, and restoration. And they've got a very nice curriculum that I believe they were gonna have training on next week.
We are.
Correct? So it's a freebie, right? And it's gonna be some really good stuff for our students to keep them informed and protected, much in the way that we talked about tonight. Our next meeting is September the 24th. IGA also met today, and we reviewed policy statements to which we made a few changes, just to maintain language consistent with current laws and language updates. We also had a preliminary review of the governor's cell phone policy, which a lot more is gonna happen with that next week. I guess the final rendition of that, and there's more to come on that. Next meeting is October 10th.
That's it. Thank you very much. Anything, Ms. Purvis?
The school board met, and we are within the budget. However, next year they're planning a $300 increase. They recently, before I was on the board, they made a 5-year commitment with the University of Lynchburg to have them basically certify all of their credits. And since then, and they did that because CVCC was charging them and basically getting double pay from the government as well as from us. And so they just didn't feel like that was ethical. Since then, CVCC has come back and said, oh, the government's gonna be paying for all of this, so we can make it cheaper, but we've got this 5-year commitment now, so. So they're hoping to try to work with CVCC and Lynchburg College both And if they are able to do that, they may not have to make a $300 increase, so we'll see what happens. Also, there were several of our students from Bedford County who got scholarships. Anna Dodge from JF received the Ann C. Wells Memorial Scholarship for $15,000, renewable for 3 years. Tyler Hinton and Eric Milhorn also from JF were also awarded the Faculty Award of Excellence, which was $1,000 one time. Samantha Callahan from Liberty High School and Izzy Mistretta and Hannah, I think it's Key, from JF were all awarded the CVGS Foundation Scholarship, which is a one-time $1,000 award. Savannah Goodwin from Liberty was selected as a Lynchburg Optimist Club for excellence in science or scientific communication, and was formally recognized as by the club on Friday, back in August 9th. Christopher Ashman and Riley Heiner from Liberty, and Taylor Douglas and Angelina Guo from JF qualified to present their research at Ferrum College on November 9th of '24. So that was the Gov School. We had 22 juniors start this year for Gov School, and 23 seniors are still there. So we have 45 students altogether at Gov School. And then for the STEM, we have 10 seniors and 8 juniors in the STEM Academy. And they're working on internships in mechatronics, cybersecurity and health science. They have new goals that they're setting for more potential partnerships and resources in the community, gaining and sustaining quality staff, and strengthen articulation efforts between STEM and the colleges, universities, as well as businesses. They're also working on implementing strategies to ensure student achievement, and also develop a marketing plan to promote positive happenings in the STEM Academy. So lots of things going on there, very good representation for Bedford County compared to the other counties around us. I think only Lynchburg has more students involved in both the STEM and the Gov School.
Thank you. Mr. Helms?
Let's see, our next Run-Up Regional Gov School meeting will be October 7th. We just recently had a CTE committee this morning. Our next one will be October 17th. And then we also have a facilities meeting coming up tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'll let Holbrook touch on some of those items.
Yeah, we had the, like you were saying, we had the CTE meeting this morning, which we heard from Mr. Doss about that. Our last facility meeting was on June 27th, and we talked about the, went over the HVAC PPEA for Stewartsville, which tomorrow we will actually at 1 o'clock, I believe it's 1, we'll be interviewing two contractors for that.
Okay.
And then got some ongoing projects going on, the wastewater treatment plant, which doesn't start until this summer. And baseball field at Forest Middle has some drainage issues. So that's still in the kind of like the planning phase, really haven't got anybody on that. And then I'd like to say that the HVAC at Liberty High School, we discussed it at the last facility meeting, which was mentioned in public comment. It just now found out what was leaking. So now they're waiting on a proposal. So it should get fixed fairly quick. And that's really about it on the committees.
All right.
Do you wanna mention that?
Oh, yeah, after the interview tomorrow, we also have the PPEA meeting, which is, what's the 60%?
65% drawings
65%
are gonna be delivered tomorrow to the PPA committee.
And that's for the awnings, the auditoriums, all that.
We had a meeting. I don't think we've had another meeting here since the meeting we had last, right? When we had that initial kickoff meeting.
We haven't, no. Just
So we
one.
did have one initial kickoff meeting. It went well. It was really just kind of laying the groundwork for the process. And this 65% is the follow-up to that, so.
Very nice. Finance Committee, we met on August 27th. Discussed some of the things that we heard about tonight, supplementals and such. One of the things that we've been doing, and in August we're trying to go line by line through the budget, see if there's opportunities. In August, we did maintenance, and we have this basically set all the way through January. So we went over the maintenance budget in August. September is transportation, October is technology and administration, November, December, and January is instruction. So we're going to be taking a good look with central office staff and Mr. DePere, looking through, seeing if there's any efficiencies that we can gain on that, seeing if there's any potential savings, and evaluating what works and what we're having great success with, and maybe pouring some more into that, and then taking from other buckets. Just trying to look through every line item in a budget. It's a massive amount of documents, and we're happy to take the time. I think that's what is expected of us. So we have the next meeting, Mr. Hagler, that's at the end of this month, right?
Yeah, I think it's 28th, maybe.
The 28th. So we'll be meeting again. Transportation will be on our list. Okay. Let's go with some comments and concerns from school board members. We'll start over here.
Start with me this time? Well, I want to just take a minute to talk about a former Stanton River High School student graduate. I think I could say his name because it's public, it's in social media at this point, but Cameron Diggs graduated 2022, I believe. He's friends with my nephew and my daughter and some of our family, and my wife kind of grew up with his parents. Anyways, quick story about Cameron. He graduated from Stanton River. He played soccer, great kid, great athlete, just a fun kid. Joined the Navy while he was in boot camp. He started having some health issues. Turns out he had bone cancer, 19 years old. He was treated, still in the Navy, but going through treatment, and it went into remission, which was great. But then a couple of weeks ago, he passed out and is currently in the hospital. Apparently, there's spread to the brain and things like that. So anyways, he's really struggling, and his family has set up a GoFundMe account to raise money for all the things that are going on with they have so many doctors and just everything that goes on with having a sick child. And so I'm just speaking out tonight to try to raise awareness in Bedford County for us to come together. And if you have the ability to give to that GoFundMe or to tell people about it, you can find the link on my Facebook page, the Jonathan Bedford County page. You can find a link there. If you can't give, we would ask that you would just be in prayer for Cameron and for his family. I can't imagine, what it must feel like to have a child, facing what he's facing currently. So he joined the Navy, was ready to serve our country, and now he's facing this battle. So if you could, just keep him in your prayers and spread the information about the issue.
Mr. Holbrook?
Just want to reiterate that a little bit. Keep in mind prayers for is it the Diggs family? Is that correct?
Cameron Diggs, yeah.
And then also the Alston family as well. Very respected man in the community.
Thank you. Ms. Purvis?
Well, I was gone for a while because my husband's surgery and he's doing better, so thank you for your prayers and support. A lot of people have been saying things, and I appreciate that very much, your comments and your encouragement. He continues to recover at home.
Excellent.
Just a quick comment on all the goings-on with the cybersecurity and the efforts that started back with Sheriff Brown in 1998, and I'm just proud of the efforts that are originating in Bedford County and have gone worldwide, and it's great to see it even coming back, and the national awareness that it has gained and continues to gain. I'm excited that we can be a part of helping that at the grassroots level with our students in Bedford County and then going across the nation, because it's a growing problem. It's not going away, and it's gonna get worse. And it takes all of us to stand our ground and to be proactive at fighting it. For evil to prosper, good men need do nothing.
That's right. Thank you. I'll just finish it off just real quick. I mean, just a lot of good things happening to start this year, for sure. It seems like everyone is moving in the same direction. I think, student success is, of course, at the top of everybody's list. It just seems like there's a lot of cohesion that's going on, and I think that's wonderful. We talked about Susie G and the programs that we've got there, and just leaps and bounds of what's happened over the last couple of years is just astounding. And we have our CTE committee and always pushing and pulling for what else can we do. We heard about electricity, criminal justice, and masonry. We'd love to be able to do it all. And I think that if we can get together and start really thinking through, maybe we can find some options for that. And it just becomes more opportunity for our kids. I know in a lot of the trades, for every 2 people that retire, only 1 is going in. And with that retirement is a lot of experience. And you talked about, at one point now, like, to figure out how to do something, you can watch a YouTube video, but being an apprentice, being there and doing it every day, that's what gets lost when those folks retire. So just hats off to what we're doing over at Susie G. It's been a priority of this board and past boards, and I appreciate that. On top of that, with the SOL improvements that we've had, I mean, that's, standards change, they're changing all the time, and we've got to be able to roll with those punches there. But, to be 36 out of 132 is great. And, I don't want to speak for everybody, but, we don't want to stop until we can get to be at the top of that mountain. And, it's been said, we've not yet begun to fight, and we're fighting hard for every single student, and their success is our success. And, you talked about, some of the negative stuff that happens, and we're bombarded with that all the time. But if we can create a positive environment in this school where it's teachers and staff pulling in the same direction, and students also, if the cell phones have to go away and then more kids can actually talk to each other, well, you can create a lot of really good connections. And that getting everybody closer together is more of a family environment. And families hold each other accountable, and they lift each other up, and they share their victories. And that's what we'd like to do here at Bedford County Public Schools. So I think from start to finish, from everybody that you mentioned, everyone from the bus drivers and the janitors all the way up through central office, superintendent, school board members, teachers, parents, everybody has a stake in this. And I just want to say that it feels really good. And I think our best days are ahead. So thank you for everybody. Thank you to everybody. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Nelms, do I have a second? Mr. Purvis? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.